Throughout my lifetime, I've had a lot of hobbies, and I've had a lot that I've dropped, and I've had a few that I've kept. And through the few that I've kept through a long amount of time, the one that I am surprised has reached it to the point that it has reached, that is anime. Seeing where anime is now is genuinely baffling to me of over a decade ago at this point. To where now anime is to the point where you could just be in public and people will just be discussing about the latest anime that came out this season. Or they'll just be watching it on their phones, or they'll be watching it on like a TV or a computer, and nobody will say a thing. The fact that anime has been normalized to the point now to where there are commercials that are just in the style of anime, not in cartoons, and anime. I was at the gym one time and there was this commercial. I don't remember what the commercial was about, but it was a commercial discussing like a health disorder or something like that in the style of anime. Currently right now on YouTube, I'm getting ads of MLB. They're going over the season in the style of anime. This was something I could not think of happening 10 years ago, where you got just commercials, things, everything, where you got Call of Duty doing anime crossovers. Like, those two worlds can't seem further apart. You got Fortnite doing anime they've been doing anime crossovers. You have video games that you would not associate with anime doing crossovers just with anime, because anime has become that popular, that mainstream, that culturally acceptable, which, like I said, was unimaginable to me 10 years ago. I could not fathom that ever being the case. Anime has always been, was very niche community filled with, if you ask the general population, like I said, 10 years ago, a bunch of weirdos, creeps, and losers. Now, the creeps are still here. The weirdos are still here. The losers are still here. They've just kind of been pushed more to the back. They were a little bit too much in the front. We just kind of pushed them in the back, right? It's weird watching the stigmatism of an entire hobby disappear overnight. It feels like, where 10 years ago an insult would have been like, "What are you, a loser who watches anime or something, you fucking dork?" Like, that was an insult that probably would have got thrown to you on Call of Duty, right? Like, it was something. I mean, if it's Call of Duty, there was significantly harsher language used in racial slurs, if we're going to be honest here. It is something that my mind cannot fathom. And I recently was just kind of thinking, what could have probably caused this? What is the main common denominator? And my thoughts are dominantly like two things, really and truly. I think it is, of course, 2020, the pandemic fucked a lot of things up. It accelerated a lot of things and gave growth to a lot of things, and also killed a lot of things. Pandemic's a real trick bag. It's a real Schrodinger's cat situation, where it's like, well, you put in the pandemic in the box, what do you think happened in the box? And it probably happened, right? And because 2020 pandemic hit, there was no more TV shows and movies weren't being filmed because everyone gonna be at home unless you want to die or get COVID. At least we didn't know what was happening. It was a very scary time if you weren't there. And I know some people are like, well, everyone was there. I'm just letting you know, there are probably some there's some 10-year-olds who are now, that were 5 when it happened, and they don't remember at all what the fuck the pandemic was about. I just want to let that be known. Damn, are we going to talk about like the pandemic, how like people, you think in like the 1950s talked about the Great Depression to their kids? Like, damn, you weren't there. Let me tell you. It's probably how like people older than me talk about 9/11. Like, I was alive during 9/11, but I wasn't like conscious really at 9/11. So like, I don't remember it at all. I feel like that's how we're gonna talk about 2020 and like 2030 when there's like some 16-year-old. Like, let me tell you, back in 2020, I digress. So 2020, everything gets shut down. Nothing's being made. So now people are running out of things to watch. We're 6 months in, everything is still closed. And so now this is the time to give anime a shot because they don't have anything else. So, now a bunch of people start getting into anime, yada, yada, yada. Another thing was, I think celebrities and influencers genuinely changed the stigmatism on it. When you have cool people that a lot of people see as cool, like Michael B. Jordan and Megan Thee Stallion, celebrities that everyone knows, come out and be like, yeah, we watch anime. All of a sudden, it's kind of like thrown into it's like thrown into limbo. Like, what? These these people are cool, everyone recognizes them as cool, and they like this nerd weird shit. What the fuck's happening? Even though, if we're gonna be honest here, I don't think it was that bad, considering that we literally watched comic books, which everyone was like, this is for dork, this is for loser. We watched comic books, which I also read and do still enjoy, go from stigmatism of nerd, loser, kid shit to, oh, everybody now knows Marvel and DC and all these superheroes that 40 years ago would have got you made fun of, would have got you stuffed in a locker, gave you a swirly about, you couldn't bring that to school, you would have been laughed out of the room, right? And then the influencer part is, you have influencers, right, on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and all that, people with tens of millions of followers saying, yeah, I watch anime. This is I mean, they're called influencers for a reason. They influence things, right? So we have these people with tens and millions of followers, subscribers, yada yada, you know, all this, and they start saying they like this thing. Well, to people who like that content creator or influencer, whatever, whichever one they are, and they're like, yeah, I think this anime is really good. Now, tens of thousands of people are maybe going to give that a shot because they're like, well, this influencer I really likes this thing, so hey, let's go ahead and give it a shot. I mean, considering that your influencer can fucking sell you on anything, a lot of times they'll be like, hey man, this product I use, this food is really good, I think you should give it a shot. Next thing you know, the store's like, we closed down and we sold out in 15 different locations because you all came through. Like, we all saw the Kai Cenat take over New York thing. Like, these people got some real weight to them, when like New York City has to be like, oh, this is too many people, nah, we gotta work. Like, yeah, no, they got some real weight. And we have people of that caliber talking about some like, yeah, nah, I really fuck with, you know, Solo Leveling or My Hero Academia or Attack on Titan. You're going to have people who are going to be like, oh, let me give that a shot if they haven't already given a shot. But now that they've opened the floodgates to be like, oh, it's okay to talk about that here, you start talking about it. And so now if you're in the comments and you have zero interest in anime and they start talking about this, well, you know, FOMO kicks in, you don't want to miss out. So sometimes you might just start watching it and the next thing you know, you like it because you're just kind of like, oh wow, this is actually really good, but you never really gave it a thought beforehand. And I never thought this day would come. Honestly, well, I didn't really think influencers were going to get as big as they were because I don't really pay attention to them because that doesn't seem worth my time, but that's just me. And watching them have the gravitas of watching people, you know, is that with millions, if not tens of millions of people who follow them on multiple different platforms, whatever, talking about, I watch this anime, I like anime, and people are like, their perception is, oh, these people are cool. Well, not cool to say, but like cool to some degree, or like, oh, they're popular to some degree. Carries real weight, carries extraordinary amounts of weight. Or when you have people like RDC World, who, if you're not really in the black community, understand that, you know, the anime stigmatism was even a little bit harder there, where it was kind of like, it was Dragon Ball or Naruto, that was about it. It stopped there. There was no more. Anime did not exist. It was those two and nothing else, right? And then we have RDC World, they come out and they, you know, do the anime skits and yada yada, like all that. For black people, they get the popularity they get because for an entire community, they were the anime people, because we couldn't talk about it in our own communities because it was not what we could talk about. It's a very tenuous situation. But you know, you're not part of the black community, you wouldn't really get it. But if you do, you understand it. It's a weird thing, and it's a kooky thing, and it's a bigger dynamic I could go into, but I'm not gonna do that. But you got people like that who blow up for like specific communities, and there's, you know, other ones where you blow up for specific communities. But they carry real weight because when you have these people who are you know, popular or cool, who come out and be like, hey, I watch this or I do this, it really gets other people confident. It's like, God, I forgot the name of it. But it's like, you know, where everyone's a bit hesitant, and if one person's like, I'll do it, then, you know, someone else is like, okay, well, I guess I'll do it. And then everyone else is like, okay, I'll do it. Where it takes one for everyone else to be like, I'll step in, or, you know, I'll do it. It's kind of like that. Once you see one person who is like socially acceptable, I guess, as we'll say, be like, I'll do it, or have the courage to step up and do it, then all of a sudden everyone else gets the courage to step up. And it's pretty much just like that, right? And that's kind of what happened to anime. Like, I remember in my high school time, I had a friend who unfortunately moved, who I didn't realize, well, I wouldn't say I didn't realize other people watched anime, but I knew it was not something to really talk about with people I talked about, because I was in football, and it was, yeah, that was the time. There wasn't really anyone in football for me like, hey man, have you watched this latest anime? No, there was none of that. But then I met a dude in high school, and one day he came up to me, and I don't even know if he knew I watched it or he just would talk about it. He just came up to me one day like, you watch One Punch Man? And I looked at him and said, fuck yes, I watched One Punch Man. And then we got into a whole debate over if Goku could beat Saitama. And yeah, that was a conversation. Like I said, but he unfortunately moved, and that went my only real anime community partner at school. So I just didn't talk about it at school because it wasn't really something to talk about. It wasn't really anything you could just talk about anything with, where it is nowadays, where you can go to a store, go to the cashier, and be like, hey, you watched the latest season of Solo Leveling? And there's a chance that they might be like, oh yeah, or they might be like, I don't know, I haven't watched that anime yet, or something to that degree. But everyone is consciously aware what the fuck anime is, and it is not like weird shit. But to me, it is weird just kind of watching it happen, because like I said, it feels like one day I woke up and all of a sudden anime was socially acceptable. Like, I genuinely think it had to be the pandemic. The pandemic had to have time traveled me at least 5 goddamn years in a matter of 2 weeks, because since no one could go outside, no one went outside, the only thing was social media, but I don't use social media, so I had no idea what the fuck you people were talking about. It was all of a sudden everyone goes outside, I could go outside again, start talking to people normally, and it was like, hey, you watched that latest season? I'm like, what the fuck? My friends, I have 4 close friends. All of them are now into anime. 5 years ago, I think maybe one of them was, and that might be pushing it. I think actually he was, because he watched Corey Kid. Maybe 2 of them. I think maybe 2 of them. Funny enough, I think they were both black. But 2 black friends, because they also watch Corey Kenshin, which, I mean, yeah, now that adds up. They really got into anime, and my 2 white friends were not into anime at all. Not at all. I then coerced them into watching anime. Now, am I a bad influence? Absolutely, but we're not here to talk about that right now. I was like, hey, you should watch this. I remember I told one friend, I was like, watch Dragon Ball Z. I thought he was gonna watch Dragon Ball Z. He watched episode 1 of Dragon Ball until the last episode, until Dragon Ball Superhero. He's watched all of it, and I was like, you didn't have to watch Dragon Ball. I'll be honest with you, because Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super seems to constantly forget that Dragon Ball exists. But you didn't have to do all that, but okay. And then the other one got started in Kekegukuro. Now, personally, I asked him, why the fuck, that's your starting point, huh? Like, you weren't, let's take the steps, get into like the 1 foot, going to 2 foot. You're like, nah, fuck it. 20 feet, we ball. Kekegukuro is the hell of an anime to start off with. If you know about it, you know about it. If you don't, it's not one that I would ever recommend you watch with another person around, because there's going to be a lot of questions and you're not going to be able to answer any of them, of why these women seem to be orgasming by gambling. There isn't a good answer. There's just not. You sit back and watch them go nuts. Go a little too crazy, some would say, a little ballistic. Yeah, he got into that one, and now they're both heavy into it. They're both deep into it. Now, is that my fault? Well, I guess also the other one that got into Dragon Ball. I think I also coerced him into manga. I think he's also contemplated buying figurines. Like, I think I got him too deep. I don't regret my actions whatsoever, but he's deep. He's gotten a lot deeper than I thought he would, but hey, it is what it is. Right, but now I got all 4 of my friends on anime where I could talk to them about anime. It's crazy. I didn't think this would happen. Never thought this would happen. At the school lunch table and all of them years ago, absolutely not did I think I was going to sit here and be like, hey man, you guys what? Like, I wonder what like middle school and high school lunches are like now. Like, I wonder if people are just like, hey man, I'm Solo Leveling some heat. Because I remember in my middle school, we talked about it's Call of Duty or Battlefield and Minecraft. That was it. There was no discussion of Dragon Ball Z. There was no Naruto. Remember, middle schoolers are cruel sons of bitches. You come out there talking about some stuff that they believe is loser, and this is also before influencers like really kicked off. Like, I don't even think influencer was a word when I was in middle school. Hell, I don't even think influencer was a word when I was in high school. But like we were not talking about this. It was we were video games is what we were talking about, because video games were acceptable among the kids. You know what wasn't? Anime. Anime was not acceptable. So middle school was like Call of Duty, Minecraft, and Battlefield. That was it. Well, Battlefield was mostly me, because I kept trying to put my friends on game of Battlefield 3, and they're like, no, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. God, I miss those days when both those games were at their apex. Now I look and I'm like, they're losing the formula, man. They lost the formula. Sad times, sad times. But that's what we talk about. Now I would imagine they're like, hey, you know, I've been watching One Piece recently, and let me tell you about episode 733. And so it was like, hey man, Bleach, oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. You gotta watch Bleach. Like, I would imagine that's going on. I mean, even back then it's probably going on, but not probably among us, like the kids at the end of the table, if I'm being honest with you. I'm honest with you. We all know. Because like I said, middle schoolers are cruel. And if you are not doing the popular thing in middle school, the middle schoolers will make fun of you. They will laugh your goofy ass out of the room. They are very cruel, vicious sons of bitches, I tell you. Oh, middle school is a hell. Whew. Whew. Your feelings will not remain intact if you go there for too long. You all remember what you were like in middle school. You were cold, heartless, and ruthless. Jesus. But it was a situation where it was just like, I don't, what can I talk about this with these people? No, cannot. It was not something I could talk about for the sake of my just sanity, because I don't feel like, I really don't like answering questions. Well, that's not true. I don't like being questioned about things I like. I just don't. Like, I don't feel fucking bothered to have to explain why I like that. I like that, and you just gotta get over it, right? And so it was just another one of those situations. But it has been watching the growth of anime hit to the point of mainstream. It is like there is no good way to explain it. When you watch, like, just to watch the explosion, like watching anime go from 20 to 30 anime coming out a season to watching hundreds of them come out, because China got involved, because it's gotten that big. Korea's now hitting for a lick. You know, Japan's making more than ever, and it's just wild the amount of money, because now we got more English voice actors than we've ever had. English dub voice actors for anime, when a lot of the English voice actors maybe only did video game exclusive, because like I said, anime was stigmatized. It was real bad. It was real stigmatized. God, it's so crazy. Like, I just sit here and I think, and I like zone out, because I'm like, this does just never occur to me. Like with my other two big hobbies, video games, Marvel, like, or you know, Marvel and DC, like you saw it happen over 10 years, you know, with the MCU. Like, you know, at first with the Spider-Man movies, they came out, those were big successes. And then with the MCU coming out, and that's a the massive success that is, I guess I should say was, it's hit a real rough patch. DC, on the other hand, it was real good at the beginning, and then they were, they really screwed the pooch there. And then with video games, like, the ones that really hit, that I'm like, oh yeah, no, these are ones, you know, MW2 and Minecraft are like the big one for 360, where it was like, oh good gracious, oh good golly god, you know, Black Ops 2, these are video games that hit the mainstream, that destigmatize video games to a degree. But anime, I felt like all the stigmatism just disappeared overnight. Like, it just disappeared overnight, to where now it could casually be enjoyed by all. It is not something where you have to like hide it, right? It's not something where you gotta be a little secretive, come up with secret handshakes and secret knocks to let somebody know, you know, are you into anime, yes or no, right? It's been baffling to see. It's been incredible to see, and honestly, I'm glad it happened. More people get to enjoy this. Oh, the fucking fuego that is, oh my god, this shit is so fucking cold. Anime's so goddamn cold. And for years they were just like, no, that's for losers. Okay, you out here missing out on the good shit because you want to be a bitch and shit, but that's fine. But nah, I just thought I'd make a video talking about it, because I was just thinking about it recently. Like, man, it's crazy watching where anime was and where it is now. Like, it's pretty fucking insane. Anyway, yeah, that's all I got. I'm gone. Peace.